Hey guys, this video is going to look at the Todt family murders and what we know about it so far. I'm going to start by playing 5 minutes of the press conference, which was on the 15th of January 2020.
On January 13th, 2020, Osceola County Sheriff's deputies responded to 2002 Reserve Place and Celebration to assist federal agents from the Department of Health and Human Services in serving a federal arrest warrant for Anthony Todt. Anthony Todt's date of birth is September 29th, 1975. Deputies made contact with Anthony in the home along with federal agents and he was immediately detained. A safety check of the home was conducted where deputies discovered 4 deceased individuals inside. The home was immediately secured and a search warrant was obtained by our detectives. Detectives and forensic investigators began their investigation and crime scene processing. The medical examiner's office also responded to the scene, and an autopsy was done the following day. The reports of the autopsy determined that the cause of death of the 4 decedents inside the home to be homicide. Anthony has cooperated with the investigation, and he has confessed to killing his wife, Megan Todt, 42 years of age, whose date of birth is January 28, 1977, and their 3 children. Alec Todt, 13 years of age, born September 26, 2006. Tyler Todt, 11 years of age, born December 30th, 2008. And Zoe Todt, who was 4 years of age, born July 23rd, 2015. Anthony also killed their family dog, Breezy. Anthony has been arrested on a warrant obtained by our detectives today for multiple counts of homicide and 1 count of felony animal cruelty. We're still waiting on positive identification of the 4 deceased persons recovered in the home by the medical examiner's office. But based on our investigation and the suspect's statements, we strongly believe that they are that of Megan, Alec, Tyler, and Zoe. Based on the initial investigation to include the suspect's statements, the deaths have been determined to have occurred sometime towards the end of December. Throughout the course of this investigation, our agency has been in close communication with the family of the victims, and we've also worked very closely, as you can imagine, with the medical examiner's office as well as our state attorney's office. This investigation is ongoing, and we will continue to work to gather all evidence as it presents itself. I can tell you on December 29th, 2019, our office received a request by a family member of Anthony Todt, who resides outside the state of Florida, to check the well-being of the Todt family because she had been told that they all had the flu, and she had not heard from them in 2 days. Deputies did respond to the home, check the home and the area, but they were not successful in their attempts to contact anyone inside the home and did not observe anything suspicious. On January 9th, 2020, the Sheriff's Office was contacted by federal agents concerning an investigation that they were conducting involving Anthony Todt. Deputies from that point made several attempts to make contact with Anthony and the family over this past weekend with negative results. While deputies were at the home and after thoroughly checking the property, there was no answer, and again, nothing suspicious noted at the home. As Sheriff of Osceola County, it brings me great sadness to report, such a tragedy. And we grieve along with the victim's family and friends, along with the community, for this tragic loss of innocent lives. Myself, I cannot understand what would cause a person to commit such evil and horrendous acts. But I can say that if there's any one person or any family out there that's going through a crisis or a difficult situation, there's help out there for you. Organizations and an entire community such as ours that would do anything necessary to help to prevent any sort of tragedy such as this one. There's so many people and organizations ready to help, such as the National Hope Line Network at 1-800-442-4673, or the crisis text line at 741-741. I just want to thank our deputies, our detectives, crime scene investigators, communication officers, and anyone else who had anything to do with this investigation up until this point to preserve and collect all the evidence required. Thank you. I also want to thank the residents of Celebration for their understanding with some street closures. It was a little bit of inconvenience for them, but under the circumstances, we thank you for being patient and being there for us when we needed you the most. I'd also like to thank the members of the media who covered this tragic case with dignity and professionalism, understanding that sometimes certain parts of the investigation, there are times when we can't release certain information. We need to preserve the integrity of the investigation.
So I just played the first 5 minutes of the press conference as it had the most detail in. The rest of the press conference will show the questions asked by the media. I found it quite upsetting to see how choked up the sheriff was when he was talking about these crimes. It really shows how horrific they are and how he has been personally affected by the crimes. So please be aware that this will be sensitive topics in this video, and please switch off if you don't want to hear those. Anthony Todt, also known as Tonytodt, which you will hear him being called, is a former resident from Connecticut, but he resided in Celebration in Florida with his wife Megan and his 3 children, Alec 13, Tyler 11 and Zoe, who was 4, and they had a family dog called Breezy. Anthony actually ran a family physical therapy practice in Colchester in Connecticut. So during the week he would live there and he would come home to Celebration to be with his family at weekends, and I think that had been going on for quite a few years. Anthony and Megan are both named on the family business, the physical therapy family practice. It seems that both their names are still on the business, but at the time and for the past few years, Anthony's been the only one working there while Megan's been in Celebration bringing up the children. Anthony studied physical therapy at university. He then qualified and went on to marry Megan in 2000 on New Year's Day. Megan and Anthony were both qualified physiotherapists, and Megan was also a yoga teacher, but as I said earlier, for the last few years she has been a stay-at-home mum. It's been reported that the kids were homeschooled, but no official reports, so I can only really go on what I am trying to research, and multiple accounts have said that the kids are homeschooled. Friends and family have reported how they were the perfect couple, how they were the perfect family, how everything was happy. Social media shows a very happy, beautiful family. Anthony was very successful at his business, very good reviews left by patients. He'd even won awards for being so caring towards people. It's been reported by friends and families that they wanted to move to Celebration to give the children a perfect life. So I did some research on Celebration and I found that it's described as an alternate life in a world that was struggling to maintain family values. It's almost like a fantasy world. That is not my words, that is what I found on research. There are no official documents released yet to do with the crimes, so please be open-minded when you're listening to this video. I've done my best to try and research what I think is the most correct information related to this case, but I cannot say it is 100% true. Please take it with a pinch of salt and go out there on the internet and have a look what you can find as well. So if we go back to September 2019 and work our way forward to today, I think we can follow a basic timeline to show how this crime unfolded, and it's the easiest way to do it because it's very complicated with the amount of unofficial documents out on the internet right now. September 2019, Megan and the children were living in their rented accommodation in Celebration, and Anthony was there every weekend. He would fly back from Connecticut to see them and spend time with his family. He was still working as a physiotherapist, but his licence had run out, and we aren't sure if he had told Megan this. Megan also had a physiotherapy licence, but hers was also due to expire. There is no date on the exact expiry date. So From September 2019, Anthony was working without a physiotherapy licence. It's been reported by Anthony's friends and families and patients of how nice a guy he was. He has not upset anyone, it seems, from birth to now until this present time. I can't find any negative comments on him. Anthony had many good reviews on how good he was as a physiotherapist and how kind and caring he was. When patients had been interviewed recently about how he was in November and December, some of them had noticed that he was a bit more short than usual and was spending a lot of time taking phone calls and appeared to be more stressed than usual. Many of Anthony's patients that were due to see him in December got a call from the office saying that they would need to cancel their appointments, and a sign was placed on the door of the physiotherapy practice saying that it was closed now until January the 1st, 2020. There was no offer of rebooking the appointments to these patients, but some of them didn't find that strange at all. They thought it's busy over Christmas, people will just get in touch in the new year. On the 29th of December 2019, a family member outside of Florida called the local sheriff's department and asked if they could do a well-being check on the Todt family as they were growing concerned from them. They said that the family had last spoken to them 2 days ago and had reported that they were all ill with flu and they hadn't heard anything since, so they had some concerns about if they were okay and could someone go to the house and just check things were all right. Law enforcement went to the home, didn't manage to get hold of anybody, but reported there was nothing suspicious and everything appeared to be okay. Sometime in the new year, distant family members of the Todt family were growing concerned that they couldn't get hold of them, and they created a Facebook page which was called Looking for the Todt Family, and they claimed on there that the last time they'd heard from anyone was a text message from Tony on the 6th of January 2020. They also claimed that the police weren't too concerned about this as the family were known to travel around a lot. On January 9th, 2020, federal agents contacted the sheriff's office and said they were investigating Anthony Todt on insurance fraud charges related to his physical therapy practice. Deputies again tried to contact Anthony at home and received no response and did not go in. Federal agents then asked the sheriff's office to serve an arrest warrant on January 13th, 2020, so the deputies could go into the house. The arrest warrant would be to do with the fraud investigations related to Anthony's business. The police then went over to the Todt household and staked it out for a while. They saw Anthony Todt returning to the home, entering the home and closing the door behind him. Officers descended on the Todt home and tried to summon Anthony out, knocking on the door and calling his name, but there was no response from him. As officers entered the home, they noted that Anthony was at the top of the stairs. There was an overwhelming smell of decomposition. Anthony was standing at the top of the stairs, holding on, shaking and clinging to the stairs. As they went up to Anthony towards the top of the stairs, the smell of decomposition became stronger and stronger. Anthony claimed that his family were asleep, but his youngest child was on a sleepover. He called out for his wife Megan, but there was no answer back. Officers conducted a search of the house, and they noted that they could see, through the master bedroom door, a body lying on the floor, wrapped in a blanket. On closer inspections, the deputy noticed it was a foot sticking out of the blankets. The foot itself was black and blue and was in a state of decomposition. Megan was found underneath blankets on a bed, while the two boys were on the floor wrapped in blankets. All three were at various states of decomposition. Officers searched the house for Zoe, and they couldn't find her for a while, and then noticed that she was under a blanket near her mother's feet. Breezy, the family dog, was found dead in a different bedroom. Anthony was arrested on 4 counts of first-degree murder. He was taken to the hospital first as he was shaking, could barely stand, and had claimed he had taken some pills. He was only at the hospital a short while before he was discharged to the sheriff's office. He also claimed he was in sound mind. Anthony admitted his financial struggles while at the sheriff's office to be able to gain a public defender. He admitted that he had debts totaling $100,000. He had no savings, even though the couple had sold their home in Connecticut in 2017. No property and no investment, and the only asset he had was a $1,000 car. He told officers that he was due to be evicted from his family home after falling into rent arrears of $5,000. He also faced eviction from his business premises and taken out 20 loans to try and combat the financial issues. He also faced charges of fraudulently charging tens of thousands of dollars in fake physical therapy appointments. Unofficial reports from the medical examiner's office say that Megan, Alec and Tyler had been stabbed in the abdomen, and that Zoe had no evidence of injury, but all four were homicide. They will not release official post-mortem results until toxicology results are back, and that can take 10 to 12 weeks. They do believe that the deaths occurred sometime at the end of December, but this is unofficial and we will have to wait for the official autopsy results to come out. They also believe that Anthony Todt had been in the house the whole time. Again, unofficial. In the past few days, Anthony Todt has been before the judge and been held without bond for 4 first-degree murder charges and an animal cruelty charge. He was seen in court with his public defender. She asked the judge not to call any of the charges out, and the judge didn't. He was the last one in, and he was ushered out very quick. All done for his own protection, I expect. The affidavit has been sealed and court documents sealed, so we won't know anything at this present point. I don't know about you, but the fact that the court documents have been sealed straight away puts me on suspicion. I'm uber suspicious about people anyway, but that makes me think this case could take a bit of a turn. I don't know which way, but I will be keeping a close eye on it. And in another bizarre twist of events, I have read that Anthony Todt's father, Robert Todt, was convicted in 1980 of a failed murder plot in which he tried to get his wife murdered. He enlisted one of his students, who it claims had drug addiction, to try and kill his wife, and Anthony at the time was 4 years old and witnessed half of it, with his mum and the guy fighting on her bed. As you can imagine, there is much discussion on this case and many discussion groups already. As you can imagine, there is many conspiracy theories going on out there. Just remember that there's no official documentation released yet, and we're not going to know the official facts of the case until this happens. I'm going to play the 2 wellbeing check calls to 911 made by Anthony Todt's sister. There is some discussion on whether the police took this seriously enough. Some people are saying yes, of course they did, and some people are saying no, they didn't. I'll let you make up your own mind on it. The first one is from December the 29th, and the second one is in January at some point, but I can't get an official date at present.
I'm wondering if somebody can do a wellness check on my brother and his family. They've been really sick for probably like the past week and a half, and I can't seem to get a hold of them.
Okay, give me just a moment. And the, let me see, I think you said 2.
I'm calling from Connecticut, so I mean, obviously there's no way for me to easily check. He doesn't have any other family down there.
Give me one moment, please. All right. When was the last time you heard from them, ma'am?
The last time I physically talked to him was on, last time I physically talked to him was either Monday or Tuesday, and he was texting my sisters and I up until Thursday. was supposed to call us between yesterday and today, and we haven't been able to get a hold of him. I can't get a hold of him, my sister-in-law, or even my nephew.
Okay, what is your name?
It's my cell phone.
Now, that address, is that an apartment or is that a house?
He's renting a house.
Okay.
But he flies down, he lives up here during the week and he flies down for the weekend, so he usually has, I think he's got a rental when he goes down there.
Okay, what is your sister-in-law's name?
My sister-in-law's name is Megan Todt.
And do you have a phone number for her? You said they were sick or something like that you mentioned at the beginning?
Yeah, they've been really sick. I guess they've had the flu. But they've had the flu probably for a couple weeks. They were really down and out during Christmas. The only one we've been able to talk to is my brother. And now, like I said, we can't get hold of any of them. We heard from him, I think it was, last time, like I said, I heard from him was Thursday. And he was supposed to call us. He was supposed to check in with us yesterday, and then he was, because they were doing their Christmas yesterday, supposedly, and then he was supposed to call us today.
Osceola County Sheriff's Office.
Sheriff's Office of Spanish Quarter. This is Tiffany. How can I help you? Hi, Tiffany? I'm sorry? Is that what you, Stephanie? Hi, I don't know who I need to speak with. I'm curious if I can have a wellness check done. What's the address for the wellness check? The address for the wellness check is... I had actually called on December 29th, and I had an officer go out because I was concerned. My brother and his family, they had all been sick. But there's actually been more developments. There's actually an active FBI investigation that's happening up here in Connecticut. And I just in conversations with my sister, my sister-in-law was making a comment about, and we just kind of put it all together, about basically the world ending on the 28th, and nobody has talked to them. Nobody physically talked to my sister-in-law since the 26th of December, and my brother has stopped texting as of Monday. So I don't know if there's a way that somebody can go out. They are renting a place. They're actually being evicted from that property. But that's the last place that we know that they were supposedly at. But they have a condo that's right around the corner as well. What's your phone number? My sister-in-law's name is Megan, M-E-G-A-N. Last name is Todt, T-O-D as in David, T as in Thomas. My brother's name is Tony, T-O-N-Y. Same last name. They have 3 kids.
And so they think the world is ending and you're worried they're going to,
Well, there's an active FBI investigation up here in Connecticut, and I'm concerned because of that, because of a lot of stuff that's been happening, that there could be something a little bit more happening. I forgot I'm wrong.
You said Connecticut? I'm so sorry.
Yes. We live in Connecticut. The investigation is here in Connecticut. He flew back to Florida on the 22nd of November. We didn't find out about all this until the week of Christmas, and we've had a very, very hard time getting anything from him, and he has stopped all communications. And we have not spoken to Megan. Nobody has heard from Megan.
You said since Monday. That was the
6th. The last time anybody talked to my brother, text my brother, not even talking, text my brother was on the 6th.
Yeah, does anybody have any medical conditions?
Yes. My sister-in-law, we're not exactly sure. That's the other part of this. Supposedly they were all sick with the flu around that time, but she has some liver issues, and there could be some other health issues that I'm not 100% sure of, but the last time that we had and like I said, I called down on the 29th, the police did go, they checked with the neighbors, and the neighbors said that nobody had been there. I had been messaging some of the neighbors, but it's just really strange.
Yeah.
And I actually spoke with one of the agents up here, and he even recommended to call back down there and see if we can have another wellness check.
Okay, I have a call and we'll get somebody out there, okay?
By the information in the second wellbeing call, I think we can presume that Anthony Todt flew to Celebration at the end of November and hasn't worked his practice for the whole of December. I'm going to play 4 calls now on a loop. The first one is the FBI call to the local sheriff's department discussing the arrest warrant for Anthony Todt for the fraudulent claims. The other 3 are calls from relatives trying to gain information about what has happened to the family after hearing rumours on social media. These calls are quite distressing.
For?
Healthcare fraud.
Okay.
Federal offense. Federal warrant. So we would be transporting. We just need assistance just to have some marked units there. We're not sure if there's children in the house. He does have 3 children. His wife should be there, but that's an unknown.
Has he made any threats towards the children or the wife that you know of?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Has he made any threats towards the children or the wife that you know of?
There's concerns there. I don't know of any direct threats, but there are concerns. He does know that he is being investigated. We have executed a search warrant. As far as we know, he's tapped out all his finance resources, and he has not contacted his family in over a week.
Okay. Do you know if he has any weapons or any history of having weapons on him?
Unknown.
Are there any vehicles in the driveway in case he tries to leave on any of them?
There's a garage, but it's funny. He's at the house, but their only vehicle that we know of is parked over at the apartment, which is a couple blocks away. But somebody did see him in a white SUV like a week or 2 ago, but we don't have any record of him owning a white SUV.
Hey, Sheriff's Office, Bethany Casco, to be clear, how can I help you? Hi, I'm calling from Connecticut. I hear that there is a death investigation that's happening in Celebration, and I'm curious if I can get a little bit of information. I believe that is my brother's house that they're at. I'm trying to get confirmation on that.
Okay, and what is your name?
My name is Chrissy.
What's your last name?
His last name is Caplet. I've already called. I think it's Detective Sean Doherty, and he hasn't called back, which I get. They're in the middle of something, but it's just a stuffy way to find out on Facebook.
Okay, and how do you spell your last name?
Stark County Sheriff's Office Center Core Line. How can I help you?
Hi, my name is Kelly Ball, and my brother is Tonytodt. I need information to know. I know you guys have an open investigation right now for a dead body found at Longview, and I need to know the address.
Okay, I can take your name and number and have someone call you, because up here in dispatch I can't give out anything, unfortunately. I can't. I don't
Please
have
have
that.
somebody call me.
I'm sorry, you said your name was Kelly?
My name is Kelly.
And your last name,
My last
Kelly?
name is Ball.
County Sheriff's Office on the Core Line. Operator 67, do you have an emergency?
This is not an emergency. Well, it is for me. But
What's
do you
the address?
have somebody that I can speak to, a lieutenant, somebody in charge that can tell me what's going on with my brother, who was just arrested this afternoon?
What's the address?
Of where he was arrested?
Just so you know, they're working that incident right now, so they're a little busy on conducting the investigation. They'll contact you as soon as they can, okay?
I know. It's just that my parents are seeing all this stuff on the internet, and we have zero information.
Yes, ma'am. Like I said, they'll call you as soon as they can and as soon as they can get a hold of you, okay? I have the information in the call.
The first time I listened to the phone calls of the relatives calling 911 and begging for information, I had tears rolling down my cheeks. I can't imagine the pain and the frustration that they were going through and are going through now, and my heart just goes out to them. I think they are one of the saddest phone calls that I've heard in a long time relating to crime. I also can't imagine what it's like finding out through social media that something horrendous and just unfathomable has happened to your family, instead of being told by authorities. I can't get my head around that. As always, when discussing a crime case, we really do have to think about the victims and the victims' family and friends, and my heart does go out to them. As with all my videos, all my opinions are my own. All information that I've put out there is found in the public domain, and everybody is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching the video. I will revisit the case when we have official documentation out there. Again, thank you so much for getting this far. I didn't plan for the video to be this long. If you enjoyed the content, please subscribe. Have a wonderful weekend, guys, and take care of yourselves.